Hey everyone, welcome back to another Facebook Live. I'm your host, Jess.
And I'm your host, Lauren.
And today we have a really jam-packed agenda to talk about how to protect yourself from a recession. Lots of tips and tricks and a lot of good info. So before we jump into all of that good stuff, Lauren's going to give us our Facebook Live etiquette and then we will jump in. So take it away.
Thanks. So for everyone joining, welcome. We're so happy to have you all talking with us today. Let's keep this a conversation. So if you have any questions or thoughts, please drop them in the comments. Also, like and share if you want to. Definitely feel free to tag your friends and invite them to join in on this conversation as well. We just ask that, of course, you don't leave any personal information in the very public comment section. So if you need to talk to us about anything more personal and you're a current Penn Foster student, you can always give Student Services a call. That phone number is 1-888-427-1000. If you are not a Penn Foster student yet, but want to learn more about our programs, how Penn Foster works, and any other questions that you have that you want to chat through, our admissions team is awesome and more than happy to talk to you one-on-one. That number is 1-888-427-6500. So getting all of that out of the way, like Jess said, our topic today is how to protect yourself from a recession. We're going to go through what a recession is, how a recession can affect your job, ways to prepare if your job is affected by a recession, and in-demand jobs that are doing well and probably have somewhat of a better chance at surviving through a recession. I think even if this is something that maybe you're not worried about or not thinking about yet, it's still good to think about how the career that you're interested in, or if you don't know what you want to do yet for a career, as you're planning, to think about jobs that have some stability. As we're closing out the year and looking ahead to 2023, it's the perfect time to think about resolutions and kind of planning that next chapter in your life. So thinking about jobs that can offer you stability and comfort and career growth and meeting your career goals is just perfect to be considering at this time of year. So we're excited to get into all of this today and have a really good conversation, and we hope you'll participate along with us. So to kick it off, Jess, can you explain what a recession is?
Absolutely. I know, we hear that word a lot, you know, looming recession, the threat of recession, but like really knowing what it is can really help you with the steps we're going to talk about going forward in this conversation. So a recession is usually defined as a period of economic decline during which trade and industry activities are reduced. So essentially a recession affects income for individuals, employment, production, and retail and sales across all industries. So it's not something that is specific to like one or two industries. Some will be less affected and some are more affected, but everyone kind of takes a little bit of a hit when it comes to a recession. There are also much higher rates of unemployment, and costs can increase from everything from groceries to rent during a recession. So again, just like the industries, nothing is necessarily safe when it comes to rates increasing and things like that. Usually a recession can last 6 months or longer, which definitely has a pretty big impact on all of our daily lives. So, even if we're not directly in one right now, it's definitely, like Lauren said, something to be thinking about and to keep in mind when you're considering your career and the paths you want to take forward, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and we know, looking on social media and hearing in the news, a lot of companies are unfortunately laying off employees. It's a little bit harder to find jobs now than it was a couple months ago or a year ago. And everything is so expensive. So just in general, it's definitely a really good time to be thinking about ways that your job may be impacted, or, even just on a positive note, to evaluate what you want to be doing. So if terms of if a recession can affect your job, it can. it doesn't just mean the possibility of getting laid off. It could potentially also mean hours get cut. There are hiring freezes, even when you desperately need more workers on your team. So it might mean, even if you're sticking around at your job, picking up more of the slack. It could also impact things like pay raises and bonuses. Depending on what industry you work in, you may feel more of an impact than in others. It really can be quite individual. A good example of this is someone working in retail. Outside of holiday shopping season, a recession can mean losing hours, getting laid off for those working in retail if their particular business isn't making the same money they did before. The economy kind of went on a little bit of a downturn. So again, I mean, we definitely aren't saying any of this to cause you stress or worry. But we know for a lot of you guys watching, this is a topic that's been on your mind. And in general, it's just always important to think about the plans that you have for your career and kind of staying on top of things financially. But with all of this, being said and thinking through all these things, there are ways to prepare if your job is affected or if you're worried about your job being affected. Jess, can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So there's, a bunch of tips and tricks we're going to go through here. And, just keep an open mind. Like Lauren said, we're not trying to have this conversation to scare anybody or to, cause you any stress. But at the end of the day, feeling prepared for something before it happens is always feels better than being unprepared. So the first things first is watch out for signs of layoffs or a forewarning that your hours will be cut. Keep your eyes and ears open. Even when management isn't saying that they're planning to lay off employees or cut hours, there are some signs to look out for to signal that they may be going that direction. These signs can include things like Lauren mentioned, hiring freezes, hours being cut, more than one or two bosses leaving for other jobs, and how well the company is doing financially. So it just might mean staying a little bit more in tune with what's going on instead of, kind of keeping your eyes closed. It's just a good way to keep yourself prepared.
Yeah. And I'll say for things like that too, some companies try and take steps like a hiring freeze or just being a little bit more conservative with the budgets to prevent having a layoff. So, we just caution to say don't freak out unless you know for sure what's going on. But, it's always good to kind of listen to your intuition, listen to your gut, listen to what people are saying at your job and kind of try and get a good feeling of where you think things might be headed.
Absolutely. I think another big thing is keeping your resume and your LinkedIn up to date. Even when there isn't a recession, you should always make sure that your resume is updated because if something does happen, you don't have to spend that time, sitting over your resume and fixing it and adding things up. You're one step ahead if you need to start applying for new jobs. And same thing with your LinkedIn. It's, we all know that LinkedIn is kind of like your online resume. It's a place where employers will go to see, what you're up to professionally. So keeping that up to date is just as important as keeping your resume up to date. So probably is a good idea every, month or so just to look it over and add in things that you might have forgotten about and to do both at the same time is probably how I would handle it. Lauren, do you want to jump into a couple more tips and tricks?
So, if you really love your job and you love the company you're working for and you just want to make sure you feel extra safe, you can look for opportunities to stand out a little bit more at work and show your value. Usually when layoffs happen, management and HR want to look for maybe some newer hires or people who aren't performing as well. So if you are somebody who's really adding a lot of value and is showing that you're picking up new skills and helping in the ways that are impacting the bottom line at your company, you might have a better chance of sticking around. Going along with that, it could be a great time to brush up on your skills or learn new ones. So if you're already enrolled in Penn Foster and furthering your education, good job, you're doing this already. So that could be a huge benefit to you. If you're not already looking for ways to gain new skills, or refresh your current skills, it could be a great time to think about doing that. The more you bring to the table, the more likely you are to be indispensable to your boss and to your company. So definitely consider taking the time to revamp your skills. Also, just a good thing in general as we go into the new year and you're looking to make your New Year's resolution, is that perfect time to hit the ground running and make sure that you're not just staying stagnant in your life, in your career, that you're continuously moving forward and getting better and growing. Another thing you can do is to go back to school. Money can be tight during a recession, especially if you're worried about getting laid off, but going back to school can be an investment that's worth it in the long run. You can prepare for a new job just in case, or learn new skills and knowledge that can allow you to move into a different position or get a promotion at work. So another great option to consider. Another thing,
I was just going to say too, something just like popped into my head. You know, you mentioned before that things like hours being cut or, you know, if that does happen, that's actually, you know, a really great opportunity. You take that and turn it into an opportunity to brush up on your skills and use that extra time that you now have to maybe go back to school and work on a couple of your courses, or to brush up on your skills so that, you know, if and when it takes a upswing and you're back in the swing of things, you can, you know, start utilizing those skills that you took the time that you were given, you know, looking at it that way, to brush up on those skills and to make sure that you're indispensable once things do go back to normal.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Another tip is just to save money where you can. It's not always easy to save money, especially when you're already stretching your paycheck to pay the bills, make ends meet, deal with the rising costs at the grocery store and things like that. But if possible, even just putting a little bit of money aside whenever you can really help you have a somewhat of a safety net in case you do get laid off or your hours get cut or something happens. This could be as little as putting $25 from every paycheck into your savings, or just putting any spare change into a jar. It definitely adds up and it can help you a lot later. And then the last thing I'll say is just know what to do if you are laid off. Unfortunately, if it does happen, it's a huge impact on your life and your emotions, but try not to panic. If you're laid off and not fired, you should qualify for your state's unemployment benefits. Definitely check out what the requirements are to qualify and what you need to do to apply, and know that there's going to be a tomorrow and there are going to be more options, and you know, maybe something better can come along after you weather that storm.
Absolutely.
But you know, we want to get into some jobs that are doing well, and you know, we can call it recession proof. You know, again, great to look into these. These are often roles that aren't impacted by swings in the economy. So if you are looking for something more comfortable or a new career, ways to grow, these are great jobs to consider. If you want to tell us about some of these, Jess.
Absolutely. So like Lauren said, these are jobs that are always needed regardless of how the economy is doing. So the first thing that probably pops into your head and the first thing that pops into mine is anything in healthcare. No matter what the economy is like, people will still need healthcare and will still need medical attention. So whether you work in a doctor's office as a medical assistant, in a pharmacy as a farm tech, or at a hospital, in any role, you're more than likely going to be needed no matter what. The demand for healthcare workers is also projected to grow by 13% over the next 10 years. So there'll be plenty of opportunities for you to find a well-paying job you enjoy. So obviously, you know, healthcare is not going anywhere. So definitely keep that in mind. Another industry that, you know, kind of fits into this recession-proof bucket is IT support. Every industry needs IT support to make sure their technology is running smoothly. I mean, we know it's 2022, technology is everywhere, it's infiltrated every industry, and there's always going to be a need for people who know the ins and outs of these programs and these machines and are there to make sure technology is running smoothly. So even during a recession, these specialists are essential to many recession-proof businesses, and a role in the industry could provide a really stable, rewarding career through economic times, really like the tough ones, you know. Um, and then, jumping back up to somewhat related to healthcare is the veterinary industry. So I know we talked about this a couple times in previous Facebook Lives, but during the pandemic, there was a huge upswing in people adopting and, getting new pets. So there's a lot more pet owners out there who are looking for stable healthcare for their animals. So, just like human healthcare, animal medical care is still a necessity, even when the economy is not doing well. We've probably all been in a position where we've needed to, take our furry friends to the vet or to the animal hospital, and those things are always a priority for people. So it's a career path that can provide you a lot of opportunities when you're searching for job openings in your area. So definitely one to keep in mind.
Definitely. And I think, another great opportunity is in childcare. A recession doesn't stop education, and it definitely doesn't stop kids needing to learn and to be looked after. It can be so rewarding to work with children. It's a career that can allow you to really make a difference in their lives while ensuring that you still have a job, because kids will always have those needs. Another one is automotive repair. People still need their vehicles to get to work and to get around. So skilled mechanics and auto repair technicians will definitely likely have stable jobs despite what happens to the economy. They can also earn a pretty decent salary, so it's all around a great career if that's the right fit for you and you're looking for a new job. Also in grocery store retail. If you like working in retail, one of the safer places to work during a recession is usually at a grocery store. No matter how the economy is doing, people still need groceries, so it may be less likely that you're going to face layoffs. But with all of this, we encourage you to do what is fulfilling and what makes you happy and what aligns with your interests. So if you are interested in exploring more programs that Penn Foster offers, feel free to check out our website, pennfoster.edu. Again, feel free to give us a call. The number for student services, if you're already enrolled, but you want to know more about how to take your career path to the next level or have any questions about your program, call student services at 1-888-427-1000. If you're considering enrolling in an online program to get you new skills or expand on the skills that you currently have, give admissions a call at 1-888-427-6500. And with all of that, I would also say for next year, if there are any topics that would be helpful for us to discuss, anything that's on your mind, anything you want to learn more about, please feel free to drop any suggestions you have in the comments or send us a message to one of our social inboxes. We love getting feedback from all of you about what's helpful. So please let us know if you have any ideas.
Absolutely. And we're just so glad to be able to bring this information to all of you and to help you feel even the slightest bit more prepared if something like this was to happen. But on a lighter, happier note, this is the last time that we'll see all of you before, we get into the full swing of all of the holidays. So we just want to wish you all a really happy and healthy holiday and a happy new year, and we will reconvene and see you guys next year. Same time, same place.
Yes. Happy holidays, everyone. Enjoy this month. May you find peace and comfort with your family and friends and have some fun.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.